I'm scared.
Immortality.
After Watergate, I'm really scared with this stuff. Go ahead.
Much of his work is influenced from the elements of his childhood. One of the themes that gets carried through is that of the puppet theater, the puppet characters. He later in his life wrote plays about using these characters, and when he was a child, he used to put on puppet shows for his other brothers and sisters and the children of the neighborhood. Everywhere in Spain, but particularly in the southern part, it's a place where the gypsies gather in many places. And Federico always had a lot of sympathy with the gypsies. They told him many times that he had duende, which is like soul. He had the feeling that they had about the sorrow of life in many ways, as well as the beauty. And as an adolescent, he spent much of his time in the gypsy quarter, much to his father's dismay. But the themes of the gypsies come throughout a lot of his poetry. Another theme that influenced him even from his childhood was that of the Spanish Civil Guard. They were seen everywhere. They would go around in pairs. In the book on, Michener's book on Iberia, there are some photographs of the Civil Guard, and they're very stone-faced, very rigid. And these are the people who maintained what the state called law and order throughout the land. He talks quite often of their brutality and their harshness. The most important influence, I think, of his farm upbringing was his love of nature. They lived in the village until he was about 11, and when he was feeling well, he was free to roam the fields, to go any place where he wanted to go, and he could see the beauty of the land, and that stayed with him, his love of that since he was a child. There's a quote that he says about this. Being a child, I lived in a full atmosphere of nature. Like all children, I judged the personality of each thing, each object, each piece of furniture, each tree, each stone. I talked with them, and I loved them. At age 11, he moved to Granada with his family, where the children could get a better education. And there he fell in love with the gardens of Granada. And this is repeated in many of the poems, but also in one tonight. His love of the green colors of the place. He was of the privileged class, and they sent him to school to study different kinds of arts. He was well known as a musician. He played guitar and piano, and it was one of his tickets into the social world that he would play music for people, either classical music or popular songs, gypsy ballads. He had quite a repertoire of things he could play just spontaneously, and he loved to share them with people. Also, he did the paintings and drawings, some of which you see here. Santiago has more in the back of this book. He was very versatile as a person, and often he would give readings of his poems and his plays among small groups of his friends, and some of these were later produced. He was most famous for his poetry, however. Later on in his very short life, he became a controversial figure in 1935, as the Flanders began to make their attack on Spain. Basically, they came up through Morocco. Franco led the armies in, and they began to take over what had been the Republic. And any of the supporters of the Republic were many times brutally suppressed. His family had been one that rose up during the Republic, and his brother was the mayor of Granada, and was staunchly pro-Republic. Many of his artist friends were pro-Republic and very outspoken about it. So by this association, in many ways, he was persecuted by certain people from Granada who particularly one man, Ruiz Alonso, was supposed to have a vendetta against him. And in 1936, on July 18th, he was killed and placed in an unmarked grave, probably a common grave of all the people they were killing during that time. Word didn't get out of his death until October of that year, and the world was shocked and very much aggrieved because he had been an international artist. He had traveled to North America and South America and was pretty much loved wherever he went. How old was he when he died? 38 when he died, very young. He had led theater groups around. His focus at the time before he left he wanted to start a theater group to show the social problems of Spain in more of a social setting. He had the feeling of that. What he said, though, about being political later was he said, I will never be political. I'm a revolutionary, as all true poets must be revolutionary, but I will never be political. That's something about his life.
Ready?
Oh, some of the poems are quite short, other ones are quite long. Santiago will read the Spanish and I'll read the English translation.
We are going to start with the two of them, very short. The first one is Caracola. In English, how do you put it in English?
Snail.
Me han traído una caracola. Dentro le canta un mar de mapa. Mi corazón se llena de agua con pececillos de sombra y plata. Me han traído una caracola.
Snail. They have brought me a snail. Inside it sings a matte green ocean. My heart swells with water, with small fish of brown and silver. They have brought me a snail.
The second one is Media Luna. La luna va por el agua. ¿Cómo está el cielo tranquilo? Va cegando lentamente el temblor viejo del río, mientras que una rama joven la toma por espejito.
Half moon. The moon goes over the water. How tranquil the sky is. She goes scything slowly the old shimmer from the river. Meanwhile, a young frog takes her for a little mirror.
The third one is completely different. It's not nature now. Well, in a way, yes.
This one's more of a gypsy thing.
Yeah, this is the gypsy, and this is the poem he didn't like it later, but it's probably one of the most famous poems. I remember when I was 13, 14, I memorized this. And it mentions Santiago in the poem, and my name is Santiago, but I have nothing to do with this. Huh? He mentioned the La Noche de Santiago. You know, Santiago is the patron saint in Spain, St. James, and it's July 25th. And what happened here in the poem was that night, July 25th, La Noche de Santiago. This is not really short, it's not really long either. La casada infiel, the title.
The faithless wife.
Oh my gosh. Y que yo me la llevé al río, creyendo que era mozuela, pero tenía marido. Fue la noche de Santiago, y casi por compromiso se apagaron los faroles y se encendieron los grillos. En las últimas esquinas toqué sus pechos dormidos, y se me abrieron de pronto como ramos de jacintos. El almidón de su enagua me sonaba en el oído como una pieza de seda rasgada por 10 cuchillos. Sin luz de plata en sus copas, los árboles han crecido, y un horizonte de perros ladra muy lejos del río. Pasadas las zarzamoras, los juncos y los espinos, bajo su mata de pelo, hice un hoyo sobre el limo. Yo me quité la corbata. Ella se quitó el vestido. Yo el cinturón con revólver, ella sus 4 corpiños. Ni nardos ni caracolas tienen el cutis tan fino, ni los cristales con lunas relumbran con ese brillo. Sus muslos se me escapaban como peces sorprendidos, la mitad llenos de lumbre, la mitad llenos de frío. Aquella noche corrí el mejor de los caminos, montado en potro de nácar, sin bridas y sin estribos. No quiero decir por hombre las cosas que ella me dijo. La luz del entendimiento me hace ser muy comedido. Sucia de besos y arena, yo me la llevé del río. Con el aire se batían las espadas de los lirios. Me porté como quien soy, como un gitano legítimo. Le regalé un costurero grande de raso pajizo y no quise enamorarme porque teniendo marido me dijo que era mozuela cuando la llevaba al río.
The faithless wife. So I took her to the river, believing she was a maiden, but she was already had a husband. It was on St. James' night, and almost as if I was obliged to. The lantern went out, and the crickets lighted up. In the farther street corners I touched her sleeping breasts, and they opened to me suddenly like spikes of hyacinth. The starch of her petticoat sounded in my ears like a piece of silk rent by 10 knives. Without silver light on their foliage, the trees had grown larger, and a horizon of dogs barked very far from the river. Past the blackberries, the reeds, and the hawthorn, underneath her cluster of hair, I made a hollow in the earth. Took off my tie. She took off her dress. I my belt with a revolver. She her 4 bodices. Nor nard nor mother of pearl had skin so fine, nor does glass with silver shine with such brilliance. Her thighs slipped away from me like startled fish, half full of fire, half full of cold. That night I ran on the best roads, mounted on a nacre mare, without bridle or stirrups. As a man, I won't repeat the things she said to me. The light of understanding has made me most discreet. Smeared with sand and kisses, I took her away from the river. The swords of the lilies battled with the air. I behaved like what I am, like a proper gypsy. I gave her a large sewing basket of straw-colored satin, and I did not fall in love with her, for although she had a husband, she told me she was a maiden when I took her to the river.
I know you better now. You love it. Y me llamo Santiago. The next one is Romance Sonambulo. This is a completely different story. It's about a gypsy who was contrabandista. You say contrabandista? Contraband? And he was hurt. And his lover waited for him. And he came, but she's not there. And it's just really sad. And also it's most of the most famous Lorca poem. The critic discuss a lot about this poem. They don't know what, especially with the use of the color, verde, what they really mean here. But we are not going to discuss, we'll just read it. This is Romance Sonámbulo. Verde, que te quiero verde. Verde viento, verdes ramas. El barco sobre la mar y el caballo en la montaña. Con la sombra en la cintura, ella sueña en su baranda. Verde carne, pero verde con ojos de fría plata. Verde que te quiero verde. Bajo la luna gitana, las cosas la están mirando y ella no puede mirarlas. Verde que te quiero verde. Grandes estrellas de escarcha vienen con el pez de sombra que abre el camino del alba. La higuera frota su viento con la lija de sus ramas y el monte gato garduño eriza sus pitas agrias. ¿Por quién vendrá? ¿Y por dónde? Ella sigue en su baranda, verde carne, pelo verde, soñando en la mar amarga. Compadre, quiero cambiar mi caballo por su casa, mi montura por su espejo, mi cuchillo por su manta. Compadre, vengo sangrando desde los puertos de Cabra. Si yo pudiera, mocito, ese acto se cerrara, pero yo ya no soy yo, ni mi casa es ya mi casa. Compadre, quiero morir decentemente en mi cama, de acero si puede ser con las sábanas de Holanda. ¿No ves la herida que tengo desde el pecho a la garganta? 300 rosas morenas lleva tu pechera blanca. Tu sangre resuma y huele alrededor de tu faja. Pero yo ya no soy yo, ni mi casa es ya mi casa. Dejadme subir al menos hasta las altas barandas, dejadme subir, dejadme hasta las verdes barandas, barandales de la luna por donde retumba el agua. Ya suben los dos compadres hacia las altas barandas, dejando un rastro de sangre, dejando un rastro de lágrimas. Temblaban en los tejados farolillos de hojalata, 1000 panderos de cristal herían la madrugada. Verde, que te quiero verde, verde viento, verdes ramas. Los dos compadres subieron. El largo viento dejaba en la boca un raro gusto de hiel, de menta y de albahaca. Compadre, ¿dónde está? Dime, ¿dónde está tu niña amarga? ¿Cuántas veces te esperó? ¿Cuántas veces te esperara cara fresca, negro pelo, en esta verde baranda? Sobre el rostro del aljibe se mecía la gitana. Verde carne, pelo verde, con ojos de fría plata. Un carámbano de luna la sostiene sobre el agua. La noche se puso íntima como una pequeña plaza. Guardias civiles borrachos en la puerta golpeaban. Verde, que te quiero verde, verde viento, verdes ramas, el barco sobre la mar y el caballo en las montañas.
Somnambule Ballad. Green, how much I want you, green. Green wind, green branches. The ship upon the sea and the horse on the mountain. With the shadow on her waist, she dreams on her balcony. Green flesh, hair of green, and eyes of cold silver. Green, how much I want you, green. Beneath the gypsy moon, all things look at her, but she cannot see them. Green, how much I want you, green. Great stars of white frost come with the fish of darkness that opens the road of dawn. The fig tree rubs the wind with the sandpaper of its branches, and the mountain, a filching cat, bristles its bitter aloes. But who will come, and from where? She lingers on her balcony, green flesh, hair of green, dreaming of the bitter sea. Friend, I want to change my horse for your house, my saddle for your mirror, my knife for your blanket. Friend, I come bleeding from the passes of Cabra. If I could, young man, this pact would be sealed. But I am no more I, nor is my house now my house. Friend, I want to die decently in my bed of iron, if possible, with sheets of fine holland. Do you not see the wound I have from my breast to my throat? Your white shirt bears 300 dark roses. Your pungent blood oozes around your sash, but I am no more I, nor is my house now my house. Let me climb at least up to the high balustrades. Let me come, up to the green balustrades, balustrades of the moon where the water resounds. Now the two friends go up toward the high balustrades, leaving a trail of blood, leaving a trail of tears. Small lanterns of tin were trembling on the roofs. 1,000 crystal tambourines were piercing the dawn. Green, how much I want you, green, green wind, green branches. The two friends went up. The long wind was leaving in the mouth a strange taste of gall, mint, and sweet basil. Friend, where is she? Tell me, where is your bitter girl? How often she waited for you? How often did she wait for you, cool face, black hair, on this green balcony? Over the face of the cistern, the gypsy girl swayed, green flesh, hair of green, with eyes of cold silver. An icicle of the moon suspends her above the water. The night became as intimate as a little square. Drunken civil guards were knocking at the door. Green, how much I want you, green, green wind, green branches. The ship upon the sea and the horse on the mountain.
And now we have a very short one, is Casita del Llanto. He cerrado mi balcón porque no quiero oír el llanto, pero por detrás de los grises muros no se oye otra cosa que el llanto. Hay muy pocos ángeles que canten, hay muy pocos perros que ladren, 1000 violines caben en la palma de mi mano, pero el llanto es un perro inmenso, el llanto es un ángel inmenso, el llanto es un violín inmenso, las lágrimas amordazan al viento y no se oye otra cosa que el llanto.
Casita of the Lament. I have shut my balcony because I do not want to hear the weeping. But from behind the grey walls, nothing else is heard but the weeping. There are very few angels that sing. There are very few dogs that bark. 1,000 violins fit into the palm of my hand. But the weeping is an immense dog. The weeping is an immense angel. The weeping is an immense violin. The tears muzzle the wind. Nothing else is heard but the weeping.
And finally from Lorca we are going to read a poem from another gypsy poem. The poem has two parts, but we have only one in English here in this book. It's La muerte de Antoñito Camborio, when the Guardia Civil took a gypsy guy, very young fella, and killed him, but he fight. Muerte de Antoñito el Camborio. Voces de muerte sonaron cerca del Guadalquivir. Voces antiguas que cercan voz de clavel varonil. Les clavó sobre las botas mordiscos de jabalí. En la lucha daba saltos jabonados de delfín. Bañó con sangre enemiga su corbata carmesí. Pero eran 4 puñales y tuvo que sucumbir. Cuando las estrellas clavan rejones al agua gris, cuando los herales sueñan verónicas de alelí, voces de muerte sonaron cerca del Guadalquivir. Antonio Torres Heredia, Camborio de dura crin, moreno de verde luna, voz de clavel varonil. ¿Quién te ha quitado la vida cerca del Guadalquivir? Mis 4 primos Heredias, hijos de Benamejí, los que en otros no envidiaban, ya lo envidiaban en mí. Zapato color corinto, medallones de marfil y este cutis amosado con aceituna y jazmín. Ay, Antoñito Camborio, digno de una emperatriz, acuérdate de la Virgen porque te vas a morir. Ay, Federico García, llama a la Guardia Civil. Ya mi talle se ha quebrado como caña de maíz. 3 golpes de sangre tuvo y se murió de perfil. Viva moneda que nunca se volverá a repetir. Un ángel marchoso pone su cabeza en un cojín, otros de rubor cansado encendieron un candil. Y cuando los 4 primos llegan a Benamejí, voces de muerte cesaron cerca del Guadalquivir.
The death of Antonito el Camborio. Voices of death resounded near the Guadalquivir, ancient voices which surround voice of manly carnation. He nailed through their boots bites of wild boar. In the fight he leapt like the slippery dolphin. He bathed in enemy blood his crimson tie, but there were 4 daggers, and he could only succumb. When the stars nail spears on the grey water, when the yearlings dream Veronicas of guia flowers, voices of death resounded near the Guadalquivir. Antonio Torres Heredia, an authentic Camborio, dark of green moon, voice of manly carnation. Who took your life away near the Guadalquivir? My 4 cousins, the Heredias, sons of Benamejí. They did not envy in others what they envied in me. Raisin-colored shoes, ivory medallions, and this skin kneaded with olive and jasmine. Ah, Antonito of the Camborios, worthy of an empress. Remember the Virgin because you are about to die. Ah, Federico Garcia, call the Guardia Civil. Already my waist has snapped like a stalk of maize. 3 gushers of blood, and he died in profile. Living coin which never will be repeated. A swaggering angel takes his head on a cushion. Others, with a wearied blush, lighted an oiled lamp. And when the 4 cousins arrive at Benamejí, voices of death ceased near the Guadalquivir.
Oh, we have another one. Sorry, it's a very short one.
Yeah, this one's short.
5. Gacela de la huida, right?
Yeah.
Gacela de la huida. Me he perdido muchas veces por el mar, con el oído lleno de flores recién cortadas, con la lengua llena de amor y de agonía. Muchas veces me he perdido por el mar, como me pierdo en el corazón de algunos niños. No hay noche que, al dar un beso, no sienta la sonrisa de la gente sin rostro, ni hay nadie que, al tocar un recién nacido, olvide las inmóviles calaveras de caballo, porque las rosas buscan en la frente un duro paisaje de hueso y las manos del hombre no tienen más sentido que imitar a las raíces bajo tierra. Como me pierdo en el corazón de algunos niños, me he perdido muchas veces por el mar. Ignorante del agua voy buscando una muerte de luz que me consuma.
Gazelle of the flight. I have lost myself in the sea many times, with my ears full of freshly cut flowers, with my tongue full of love and agony. I have lost myself in the sea many times, as I lose myself in the heart of certain children. There is no one who, in giving a kiss, does not feel the smile of faceless people, and no one who, in touching a newborn child, forgets the motionless skulls of horses. Because the roses search in the forehead for a hard landscape of bone, and the hands of man have no other purpose than to imitate the roots below the earth. As I lose myself in the heart of certain children, I have lost myself in the sea many times. Ignorant of the water, I go seeking a death full of light to consume me.
Thank you very much. Let's take a 10-minute break. We'll come back for Papa and Neruda.
And coffee there, don't forget that.
And coffee and
idea. I would like to.
Nancy, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I had a great time. I appreciate you too. It's great to meet you guys.
I hope so.
Can I get you something?
No,
Some water?
just
Some
water.
water?
Oh, that was beautiful. I've met Low Earth before. Never.
Yeah, something magic. Especially for the American.
Well, that's
I've seen it so many times. Some point in time, and most of the students. My wife is and last week he was there. We can read them it's not the same when you translation. Of course, you mean a lot because you can have the better one.
It's so good to actually hear it. I never heard about it. I read it.
I don't like to read it because I'm not from Spain. Spanish people have different accents. You hear this from Spanish, it's all from the South. Really authentic. They pronounce the T and even though my mother is Spain, I'm from the South. But no, I'm Antonio, Sirelia, Hey,
One day I was class and the computer figured I think it came a little quick for my screen on the computer.
But you got a pretty good dose of there.
Oh, okay.
Your refill is
You're an excellent cook. And your Chilean brother, right?
Never mind. I didn't know that would be really hard. a good way to say it. Well, it's I think she was okay with it. No, yeah, I don't try to Oh, she won't be tomorrow. Yeah. That's right. I saw my Oh, look at my arm. Oh,
That's his tea. If I had coffee earlier, but I guess actually I shouldn't. But I brought some tea to sort of clear it out. Licorice root? Yeah, it's good for the throat and stuff, yeah. No, but I just have a ritual now. You know, my father had it too. Well, it's more nervous.
You should try it.
We can wait just a minute. It looks like we're still. So, yeah.
Other way, we're not going to.
Oh, it's okay. Well, we won't read the long one. I can see that's too much. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see unless they absolutely demand it.
Even though I don't know how they feel, listen in the language they can understand, but at least they can hear what it sounds.
Well, a number of people, are from Argentina and other places. I don't know if you met them.
Yeah.
So, some
No,
of
I
the
was
people.
talking about the Americans.
Yeah, right. Well, I think a
You
lot
have
of
the copies?
them.
You have copies?
Yeah. Good, both parts.
Will it be possible for us to use both of these? I finished it
Oh,
when I
sure.
gave you this.
Sure, that's fine. Let's do it that way. Okay. And I'm not going to talk too much, but I'll give them some idea.
You're going to eliminate this one?
No. That was in the book. It was a library
My
book.
mother there. I said, what's that? I don't see no mother there.
I don't know who did it. Somebody did it that took the book out of the library. That's funny.